इसमें sound is audible. इसमें sound is audible. इसमें sound is clear to all of you. Am I not audible to you? Yeah, so please response right that key audible. Okay, so in the Ansible, anybody have any doubt, any question? Do you have any question in Ansible? Anybody? What happened today? Nobody is responding. Do you have any doubt in Ansible? That's the only thing I'm asking. Yes or no? Then that's why I require the clarity from you that the previous topic good. Should I start new one? That's why I'm asking. Just try to understand now, like from teacher perspective also, if somebody is asking, you just have to type, right? I'm not even telling you that you have to speak on mute. Just you have to type it from your keyboard in a chat, right? Even if you don't want to type it, you can just send a message directly to me also, right? If you don't want to send it to the everyone, but at least that you can do, all of you. So I can get, okay, you don't have the any problem thing, or you are understanding, so I can proceed ahead. Because I just think like this is a virtual training, right? So as a teacher perspective, also just think that if somebody is just going to speak, so I don't know now who is in other part of the thing, how you are understanding, whether you are there. So that's my duty also that you have to ask. That's why I keep asking. Other than that, there is no any problem, right? And whatever the question you ask, I never said that I'm not going to answer or something. Whatever the doubt you ask, I try to figure it out. I try, right, any way possible. So just you have to be little bit attentive. That's it. And just a 30 to 40, 45 minutes classes we always take, right? So just be little bit attentive. That's it. Okay. So we are going to start with the Docker. Okay. So before starting the Docker, you have to understand some point. Okay. Because the practical, I can start it. I can complete it in 2 days. Okay. But little bit theoretical knowledge you will require. That only we'll be going to cover today. Okay. So the first question, basically, if somebody is going to ask you that you are using the laptop or computer, right? What is the reason you are using the computer or a laptop? Anybody can tell me that, any answer coming in your mind? That what, laptop or something, laptop or computer? What is the purpose of that? Okay, yeah, for using different apps. Yes, so we use the laptops, everything for using different application only. Either we are using the internet, so we'll be using the Google Chrome, Firefox, right, to watch some video, we'll be using media player or something XYZ like that, right? That means we are at last we are using some applications or software only. Okay, even to see the files, to do the meetings, to write the known some text file, everything we are requiring any software only. Notepad is itself is a Word document is a software like that only. Okay, so to run any application or software, okay, because see our final goal is to run any application, right? So to run any application, the first thing you are going to require is an operating system. Can you tell me operating system you can run application? No, that cannot be possible. Even in your mobile phone, if you are running the application, that means there is some operating system is there, either Android or iOS, Symbian, like that. If operating system is there, then only yes, sir. Okay. So then, after understanding all these things, first we have to now understand that okay, then the first thing we have to do is we have to install the operating system. Then only we can install the application. That is the actual way, right? Whenever we buy the laptop from the market, so they comes with the installation of operating system. Then only on top of the application, right? So now there are different ways to install the operating system. Okay, and to installation of operating system, we say it as a provisioning. Okay, how to install the operating system, we say it as a provisioning. Okay, so rather than saying that we are installing operating system, we say the operating system. So basically there is a four ways of provisioning. Okay, the first method is bare metal, second method is the cloud computing, third is the virtualization, fourth is the docker. Okay, docker or containerization, whatever you say. Okay, so what is the currently you are using? That this is my laptop in which I have all the RAM, CPU, hard disk. On top of that particular laptop, I installed all this operating system, right? So this is known as a bare metal. Bare metal means you have the hardware present with you. Okay, you have the hardware present with particular hardware, you install the operating system. Okay, so basically I bought the RAM, hard disk, CPU, everything, and on top of that I installed the operating system. This is known as the bare metal. Second way is the cloud computing. In the cloud computing, we don't have the hardware physically present with us, right? If I'm going to EC launching some instance, right? So we are launching the instance, but we are launching it in the AWS server, right? It is not like they are providing me this particular EC2 machine at my home or something. That means we don't have physical access. We are accessing using the cloud. So we see it as a cloud computing. This part is not cloud computing, is a virtualization. Okay, so when the virtualization came in the market, actually after the bare metal, the second technology came in the market was the virtualization only. And whatever the cloud computing you are using, that AWS or GCP or right, they are internally using the virtualization concept only. Okay, to provision the different operating system. Because if you are asking for 1 GB RAM or something from the AWS, so do you think that AWS is going to going in the market and they are buying 1 GB RAM? No, they will be definitely buying 100 GB RAM or 200 GB RAM. And in that 100 GB RAM, 200 GB RAM, they will divide it to 100%. For each person will getting 1 RAM, right? It is not like they are buying 1 GB RAM stick every time. Okay, so the concept of virtualization is basically there will be hardware will be present. Okay, and you are basically virtualizing the software. So the problem was with the bare metal was what people were facing, that I have a laptop with me. Okay, on top of this laptop I installed the Windows operating system. So this is a bare metal concept. Okay, but now I require to use the operating system. I want to use the Ubuntu, want to use a Red Hat for some time. So it is not like I'm going in the market, I'm buying a new laptop and there I am installing the Ubuntu, right? So if there are 5 operating system I want to use it, so there are 5 laptop I have to carry, right? And that is not feasible. Okay, so with the idea of the virtualization. Okay, so basically before virtualization also there is another concept is also there in the bare metal itself, that you do the dual boot of your laptop. I don't know how many of you heard about it, but if you search for the dual boot, okay, so you'll see basically you can install 2 or 3 different operating systems. So whenever you will power on your laptop, now in the starting only they will ask you that whether you want to log into the Windows 10 or Ubuntu. Okay, so again this is also known as a bare metal only. Okay, but the problem here is if I'm using the Ubuntu. If I'm using the Ubuntu, I cannot use the Windows 10. Okay, and I cannot do the multiple boot or something here. That if I want to run 5 operating system, 10 operating system, it is not possible here. Okay, 2 to 3 is maximum. Okay, in this case. And also we have to choose. Like if I'm working on currently the Windows 10 and want to do work parallelly to the Ubuntu, it cannot be possible. I have to shut down the machine again. I have to power on. Next time I will be logging to the Ubuntu machine like that. Okay. But when the virtualization comes in the picture, they say that what we can do is, okay, you have to install VM or VirtualBox, this type of the software I'm talking about, like Oracle VM VirtualBox. You will be installing this type of the software. This software is going to create a hypervisor type of the concept, okay, which will directly communicate with the hardware of my laptop, okay. And using this software, you can install multiple install the Ubuntu operating system, right? So my Windows is running parallelly. I can start the Ubuntu operating system, okay, and it will be started. So I will be using Windows also. I will be using Ubuntu also, and that's the benefit in case of the virtualization, right? One I want to use, I can use it. There is no any problem in that. Okay. So we can use it. And also one more extra benefit of this Oracle VirtualBox or this VirtualBox concept is like this. Take an example in this Ubuntu operating system. I installed 50 software. Okay. Because I was doing some project I had to install. So I installed all the software, everything, right? Now, one of my friend is also working in the same project. So rather than he will install Ubuntu in his Oracle VM VirtualBox and again he will manually install the 50 software. Okay, rather than doing that, we can create a snapshot of this particular image. Okay, a snapshot I already shown you in the AWS how to create it. So that type of the things we can do it. And this particular image, I can share it to my friend using the pen drive or something, right? And once that image he will get it, so he can system from that particular image. Now the benefit will be whatever the software I install inside this Ubuntu machine, he don't have to do it. He will be already getting all the software installed when he will be using my image. Okay. So that started to happen with the help of the VirtualBox machine. People were liking it. Everything was going good, right? People are able to use multiple operating system. Then what is the problem here? Why people required some other technology also? So shut down this machine because I already shown you one time how to run this event and everything. So, so basically the thing is provision on operating system I am talking about. Okay, the concept is bare installation of Windows operating system. If you are going to do directly on your laptop, it is going to take 50-60 minutes of time. Okay. Second thing is the virtualization. Okay, what is the virtualization? So in the virtualization, what happens is installation. So in the virtualization also it is going to take time only 40, 50, 60 minutes. It is going to take time to install any operating system on the virtualization also. Okay. But in the virtualization, what you can do is you can run multiple operating system parallelly. You can run multiple operating system parallelly. Installation is going to take again the same, will take differently, right? But you can run multiple operating system parallelly. So basically, take an example. In my laptop, I have 20 GB RAM. Okay, in my laptop, if I have 20 GB RAM, and inside this Oracle VM, like currently I installed Ubuntu, right? I installed two Ubuntu. So like this way, take an example here. I installed system. One is Ubuntu, one is Red Hat, one is Kali Linux, like that. Okay. So for Red Hat, I allocated, take an example, 6 GB RAM. Okay, so 6 GB RAM is gone for the Red Hat. Okay, another 6 GB RAM I given to the Ubuntu operating system, and another 4 GB RAM. So total, how much RAM I provided? 16 GB RAM I provided, right? Now I'm remaining with how much RAM? 4 GB. Okay. So what if all these three operating system running parallelly, then they are going to take 6 GB plus 6 GB plus 4 GB, total 16 GB RAM from my, and total how much RAM I was available? 20 GB RAM. So the remaining 4 GB RAM who will be using? It will be getting used by the Windows laptop, right? Because this Oracle VirtualBox everything is running on top of the Windows, right? So if this Ubuntu is taking 6 GB RAM, 4 GB RAM, but this entire operating system you are seeing, right? This Brave browser, this thing, this all will also take RAM, right? So basically, other 4 GB RAM or something is getting utilized by the Windows operating system. Okay, but now the problem here is this type of the setup. That take an example, tomorrow I want to run some heavy software in the Ubuntu machine. Okay, and for that particular reason, this Ubuntu require 8 GB RAM. Okay, this Ubuntu require 8 GB RAM or 10 GB RAM, something like this. Okay, and currently this Red Hat is using only 5 GB RAM is free only, because in the Red Hat I'm not using that much any work or something. So 5 GB RAM is free here. In Kali Linux also 3 GB RAM is free. Currently, take an example. Okay, and this Ubuntu required 2 GB extra RAM because they have to do some heavy tasking. Now the RAM is not available. Okay, so this Ubuntu will not able to ask the RAM from the Red Hat or the Kali Linux. They can ask directly from the virtualizer machine only, but this particular 6 GB RAM we reserved it for the Red Hat. So this Red Hat is not going to share this particular RAM to anybody other person. Either I have to shut down this operating system, then this 6 GB RAM will be freed and it will be given back to this operating system, Windows operating system, and from there they will be taking. Okay, but if I want that parallelly this three operating system is running, if RAM, so he should share this RAM to the Ubuntu, right? Once the Ubuntu work will be completed, he can again give back RAM to the Red Hat. But this type of the things does not happens in the virtualization. And that's why in the virtualization, we have the limited number of operating system I can run, right? If I have 20 GB RAM, so maximum 3, 4, 5 operating system I can run it, right? Because at least 3 GB, 4 GB, 5 GB RAM I have to provide to each operating system. Then only they will run perfectly fine, right? So if there are 20 GB RAM or 30 GB RAM, so we can share it to 5 parts, 6 part, that's it. We cannot create 100 of operating system parallelly. We cannot run like that. Okay, so that's the limitation of the virtualization. Third thing was the cloud computing that I already said. It takes that launching of the EC2 instance, everything, that takes 2 to 3 minute time only. But this is a paid service and also the resources are present in the AWS server side. Okay, but it is faster in provisioning, in that there is very good as compared to the bare metal and virtualization, but we are paying the charges for that. Okay, and even the cloud computing is using the virtualization concept only, but they are using little bit good virtualization. That's why they are little bit faster. Okay, so up to here, it was the normal scenario. Now the fourth thing was the containerization came in the market. It came in the market to solve this particular problem. Okay, they are saying that okay, you are running multiple operating system, well and good, but the problem here is even if this Red Hat is not using 6 GB RAM, still they are reserving, and that doesn't make sense because if this Red Hat is using 1 GB RAM and we are reserving 6 GB, that means this 5 GB is just getting wasted, right? We are just paying some extra charges for this and we are not able to utilize this RAM. Okay, so for that particular reason, containerization technology came in the picture. Okay, and there is a tool available in the market who introduced the containerization technology, that is the Docker. Okay, so the first thing Docker say that you are taking 50-60 minute time for installation, you are taking 30-40 minutes, you are taking 2 to 3 minutes time. Let's forget about all this. Let's do everything in less than 1 second. Okay, so Docker say that I can launch the entire full-fledged operating system. I can install everything, make it ready in less than 1 second. Okay. Second problem, everybody is reserving the resource. In the starting only, they are asking that how much RAM I require, right? If I'll give 6 GB RAM and if they are not using 6 GB RAM, so they are not going to share it. So Docker say, okay, then let's do one thing. I'm not going to reserve the resource also. Okay. So Docker is now beneficial in two ways. They are saying that I can provision the entire operating system in less than 1 second, and I'm not going to reserve the resource also. Okay. Then how the Docker is going to work? Okay, if this is the case, then how the Docker is going to work? So Docker say, I'm not going to ask you in the starting itself that I require 6 GB RAM, 10 GB RAM, 100 GB RAM like that. Maybe when you will start me, that time I will require 200 MB RAM only. So that time only I will ask to 200 MB RAM. Okay. If I will require 1 GB RAM, that time only I will ask you 1 GB RAM. Once my work is completed, I don't require 1 GB RAM, I will give it back. Okay, I will just run it in 5 to 6 MB only. I don't require any enough resource also. Okay, and due to this limitation, now we don't have to reserve the resource. Whenever our operating system requires the resource, that time only they are going to ask it. So due to implementation of the Docker, even in the 1 GB RAM machine, I can run 100 containers easily. We don't have to worry about. Once the container will get the load, that time only they will require the resource utilization from the base machine. Else everything will be fine only. Okay. So now the thing is how Docker is able to launch everything in less than 1 second. Okay, that is the interesting thing we have to understand here. Okay, so Docker say that you know about the Linux. So everybody know about the Linux, right? So if you remember our first or second class of the Linux, I said you that Linux based operating system I said to you that Linux is not an operating system. Linux, basically we say it as a Linux based operating system. All of you remember that? Remember everybody? I explained you the concept there. Yes or no? Okay. So there are different operating system available in the market. So that time I said you that Linux based operating system is nothing. They are just a Linux kernel, okay, plus collection of free software. So everybody is using the Linux kernel only the collection of free software, whatever we are getting in the Ubuntu or Red Hat, that is only the different. Okay. Now, if we'll say that if I want to install the Ubuntu, take an example in my this particular laptop, right? So what I will be going to do in the market, I will be going for the Ubuntu ISO installation, ISO image like that. If I'll search in the Google, I will go to this particular Ubuntu website and they will say that to download the Ubuntu, what you can do is you can click on this and a file of 4 or 5 GB is going to be downloaded. And once you will download that particular file, okay, like 4.69 GB, something like this, then Ubuntu is going to be installed. So now I got that, okay, Ubuntu, if I want to install the Ubuntu, then I have required at least, basically I written here, so let it be. So it is like approx 5 GB storage is there, something like this particular ISO image, okay. And this bare metal or this virtualization, what they were doing, they were installing the entire operating system, entire 5 GB operating system they were installing in this two method. Even in the third method also they do like that only, okay. They try to install the entire ISO image, okay. So since they are installing the 5 GB file or something, so definitely it is going to take time, right? So that's why they are taking this much time, okay. But Docker is a little bit advanced. Okay, so the first thing Docker say that assume that Docker is just created for the Linux machine only. Okay, that means you have to understand here that when the Docker was launched in the market, Docker was launched for the Linux machine. Okay, that means you bought a laptop from the market. Okay, you bought the laptop from the market. On top of this laptop, take an example, you install the Ubuntu. Okay, on top of this laptop, you install the Ubuntu. On this Ubuntu operating system, you install the Docker. Okay, so basically on Docker is running on the Ubuntu operating system, Ubuntu is running on your laptop, and this Docker is going to run the multiple operating system, whatever you are going to say, Red Hat, CentOS, Alpine, like whatever the operating system you're saying, that Docker is going to run it. Okay, even the Ubuntu also they can run it. Okay, whatever the version you want to do. So this Docker is running on top of this Ubuntu operating system. Okay, so basically Docker say that rather than installing this entire operating system, that 5 GB everything again, because I know that Linux is nothing just the Linux kernel plus collection of free software. So kernel is going to be same, right? Either I am using the Red Hat, I am using the CentOS, I am using the Alpine, I am using the Ubuntu. Everybody is using the same kernel, right? So only the collection of free software is different. So they are saying basically here that if somebody is asking me to run the CentOS operating system, right? So CentOS is going to have two things. One will be the Linux kernel, second will be the collection of free software. Okay. So I will not download the kernel code. I will just download the collection of free software code because kernel code I already have. Where they have the kernel code? They have the kernel code at this particular Ubuntu, right? Because this Ubuntu is also having the Linux kernel plus collection of free software. Okay. So whenever they will require the kernel code, okay, so they can just take the reference from the base image collection of free software. Okay, so basically they will take the things from the base image. So Docker, what they do is they say that I will download only the collection of free software side only. Okay, and you know actually what happens that in this approx 5 GB size, okay, 90 to 95% size comes from the Linux kernel only. That means in this 5 GB, 4.5 GB size, 4.6 GB size directly comes from the Linux kernel only, and only that 200, 300, 400 MB software you are getting now, that is only coming in the collection of free software set. That means the heaviest work is the kernel code only. Okay, and if we are not downloading this kernel code, we are sharing it from our base image only. Whenever I will require this, Docker is saying that I will help you to communicate directly with my base operating system. You can take the reference of kernel from there. Okay, so I have to download only the collection of free software. So then again the problem came that Docker said that some people asked basically that from where we'll be downloading this, right? Because this Ubuntu is not giving me any way that I can directly download only the collection of free software, because they are giving me always that bigger file only, right? So Docker say you don't have to worry about, we created our own website with the name called Docker Hub. Okay. Inside this Docker Hub, I will be going to provide you the image of all the operating system. Okay, like if you want to find the image of the Ubuntu, you can just come here, you can search for it, you'll be getting this Ubuntu. If I'll click here, you can simply run this command, your image will be downloaded. And this image is only going to contain the collection of free software, but kernel code they will not have. That means this will be the a smaller image. And when I will download this image, everything I will show you, image size will be less than 100, 200 MB. Okay, all the images will be less than 100, 200, 300 MB, like that only. Okay, so it will come in very less size itself whenever we'll download everything. So that's the benefit here. Okay, so now we got the idea that okay, whenever this Docker is going to run any operating system, they will directly download the image, custom image from the Docker Hub directly. Okay, which will be very less size, and if they will require the kernel code, they can take it from the base machine. Okay, so now we got to know that why this is faster, why they are provisioning in less than 1 second, right? Why they are provisioning in less than 1 second? Because they are not installing that 5 GB, 6 GB file, right? They're installing very less software, and that's why it is faster. Second thing, do not reserve the resource. Why they are saying that do not reserve the resource? Basically, here they where problem was facing was in the starting only you have to reserve the resource. But Docker say if you'll say me to run all the 4 operating system, I can run it. If you'll say that you have to run Red Hat itself, 5 different laptop of the Red Hat, that also I can do. Okay, 5 different laptop of Ubuntu, that also I can do. But take an example, in that 5 laptop, if one laptop requires more RAM, okay, so that time only they will request that I require high RAM, then they will ask it to this base image, Ubuntu image, and from there they will take the RAM and share it. Okay, once this work is completed, he don't require now enough RAM, then he will again give it back. Okay, so they are not reserving. Here they are saying that they are thinking that their this 6 GB RAM is their personal property, I don't want to share something. Okay, but here it is not like, they are, whenever they will require, they will ask. If they don't require, they will again give it back. So that problem is also solved. Multiple operating system I can create it whenever we require. We don't have any limit, everything in the starting only. So this is the flow. Why containerization become popular? Like even in 1 GB RAM, there are multiple containers you can create. Okay. But before understanding all these things, like why we understanding these all things, why we require that our operating system should be installed in less than 1 second, right? That will be also a question in mind, that what was the problem people were facing if the operating system is getting installed in 30, 40 minutes, 50, 60 minutes, like that. So all of you remember the auto scaling example? In the AWS, we discussed about the auto scaling. Have you remembered that, all of you? So in the auto scaling, when how much time AWS was taking to scale the new EC2 instance when the load was coming, if the CPU utilization was become high, so how much time it took around to scale the instances to 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, like that? Remember? It was not instantly, right? They were taking some time. Yes or no? So it was, how much time it was taking? Anybody? All of you done the auto scaling practical, right? It was taking around 5 to 10 minutes of time to scale the new instances, right? So that means now if there is one web server is running and currently people are able to see my website, suddenly in the next 1 hour, 1 million people have started to come visit my website. Definitely I'll require multiple web server, right? But if the auto scaling is going to take time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if we are going to run it in the virtualization, they are going to take 30, 40 minutes time. So is my customer is going to wait for 30, 40 minutes or 10 minutes that, okay, let's wait, after 10 minutes, this website is going to come back, then I will do the purchase. It is not like that. Customer perspective, it will be a very bad image, right? So that's why we require some way that this particular web server, everything can be scaled in fraction of second. that as soon as load is coming, they should scale up quickly, right? And I said this web server is nothing. This is just an application. And to run any application, the first thing what you will require an operating system, right? So now we have to find a way in which way we can install the operating system fastly. The best solution is the Docker, okay? Because they are taking less than 1 second. So as soon as Docker will install the operating system, will quickly run the web server there in fraction of second, right? And in less than 1 minute, our 100 server will be ready. We don't have to worry about. That means customer is saying that website is not opening. Again, they will refresh 1 to 2 times and they will see that website is opening. Okay, and this type of the response will be good as compared to this 30-40 minutes waiting or 10 to 20 minutes waiting like that. Okay, that's why we went in a technology where we can scale the things so quick. Okay, so that's the about the containerization. How they are going to do it or how the commands we are going to learn it, that will we start to see it from tomorrow. Okay, so till now if you'll see, we discussed about the 4 ways of provisioning, why we require this faster provisioning, that I given you the example of that client web server one. If load is going to increase, definitely will require more web server, and for that particular reason we'll require a method in which we can provision the new operating system in fraction of second. Okay, and then we'll start with running the commands, everything, docker ps, docker psfn. These all commands I will show you how to install the operating system, how to run it, everything. Okay, one by one, from to next class, basically on the next week. Okay, so next week mostly we'll be covering the docker also and kubernetes also. Okay, after that we'll be remaining with the two topic, that is jenkins and terraform. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So just practice up to here. If something previously completed and you are not able to complete just now, try to complete it over this weekend. Okay. So when we'll start with the Docker, everybody can do the practical parallelly. Okay. Like after classes, you can do the practical parallelly. So whatever the things are remaining, just try to complete it over this weekend, all of them. Okay. And this document I uploaded it, so you can go through this theoretical one. Fine. Anything? Any question? Anything? Okay, then try to complete up to Ansible, all of you. Okay. Thanks, all of you. Have a nice day.